The night in Český Krumlov settles like a velvet curtain. Soft moonlight spills across the medieval rooftops. The cool air carries the faint scent of wood smoke and river mist, and somewhere deep in the labyrinth of cobbled streets, a hush holds a secret you are about to uncover. Before we begin, find a place where you can rest. Let your body sink into comfort. Tonight, I'll take you on a quiet journey to a place where only peace waits for you. Put on your headphones if you can, and stay with me until the very end, as each word will guide you deeper into the night. If you'd like to share in the comments where you are listening from, and the time on the clock where you are now, so that others traveling with Nightfall Travels may feel that they are not alone, but part of a gentle worldwide drift towards sleep. The mystery of Český Krumlov lingers just out of reach, like the faint echo of footsteps on stone after dusk, or the shimmer of candlelight reflected in the Vltava River. You know you've arrived at a town that feels like it has been waiting centuries just for your presence. And yet there is more than what you see. Something hidden in the nighttime rhythm of this place, a gentle secret you will come to sense as the hours unfold. Nightfall Travels begins here with you stepping softly into an evening that will stretch into dream. The first breath you take is cool and earthy, as though the stone walls themselves have exhaled after holding centuries of stories. You notice the air carries the fragrance of aged wood beams and distant pines mixed with the river's mineral freshness. The town is small enough to feel like a whispered tale, but vast enough in history to hold you with awe. The motif of flowing water is here already, the river circling the town like an embrace, its quiet song moving with you wherever you wander. Tonight, that sound will return again and again, changing each time, like a companion guiding you deeper into rest. You stand near the heart of the old town square, where pastel facades lean in as if to keep each other company. Their windows glow faintly, some with the warm flicker of a single candle, others dim with the memory of daylight now gone. A musician somewhere strums a slow tune barely audible, just a few notes drifting down a narrow lane. The sound mingles with the water motif like ripples across silence. As you walk, you notice the cobblestones beneath your feet, smooth, time-worn, uneven, but carrying a comforting rhythm. Each step lands softly, as though the town itself wants you to tread lightly, to notice the way the stones have held countless footsteps before yours. You slow down, and as you do, your body releases the tension it carried from the day. Your shoulders sink, your breath deepens, your eyes soften in the glow of the night. Český Krumlov is often called a fairy tale town, yet at night it feels more like a lullaby, gentle, repeating, soothing in its familiar chorus of light and shadow. The castle above, with its painted tower, seems to watch over you, not as a monument of power, but as a guardian of quiet dreams. Its walls shimmer in the moonlight, soft rather than imposing, like a lantern guiding you forward. There is a story whispered about this place, that during long winters when night stretched endlessly, townsfolk would leave a single candle burning in their windows to keep watch for travelers who had lost their way. Some say the candles guided spirits as well, so that no soul wandering or weary would feel alone in the dark. Tonight, as you pass beneath windows glowing with amber light, you sense that same welcome, a promise that you too are safe here, guided toward rest. You pause on a small stone bridge arching over the river. The Vltava flows gently beneath you, its surface glimmering like liquid glass. The recurring motif, the water seems to carry not only the town's reflection, but also your own slowing heartbeat. You lean on the cool stone rail, feeling the quiet pulse of the night flowing with you. The ripples are steady, timeless, unhurried, reminding you that you too can let go of hurry. In the distance, the castle's tower bell tolls softly, not as an alarm but as a reminder that time here is different. Elastic, forgiving, designed to help you drift. You take another breath, noticing the coolness of night air filling your chest, then slowly exhaling, letting your body feel heavier, grounded. An American memory surfaces unbidden, the way small-town main streets back home look at dusk, when storefronts glow warmly against the dark, and you can almost hear the hum of conversations inside. Here in this Czech town, the feeling is similar, a gentle belonging, a reminder that no matter where you are, evening, lights call you inward toward comfort. You wander on, guided by lanterns set along narrow alleys. Shadows stretch long across stone walls, flickering as though the town breathes with you. At one corner, you notice a carved wooden sign swaying in the night breeze. It bears the faint scent of oak and resin, reminding you of forests not far from here, whispering of journeys yet to come. The motif of flowing water calls to you again. You hear it from another angle, softer, now muffled by the curve of streets. It is as though the river is leading you, promising something further ahead, something waiting to unfold as the night deepens. You arrive at a hidden courtyard, quiet and still. A fountain at its center trickles gently, adding its voice to the river's song. You sit on a stone bench, feeling its coolness beneath you, and close your eyes. The night folds around you, layered with scent and sound. The faint sweetness of bread lingering from a closed bakery, the cool damp of moss on ancient walls, the tender music of water weaving through silence. This is only the beginning. Ahead lies a journey through winding streets, castle halls, and riverside paths, each step carrying you closer to a secret that only nighttime in Český Krumlov reveals. For now, you rise from the bench, drawn toward the glow of lanterns further down the lane. The river waits, the castle watches. The town holds its breath, as if ready to share with you its most gentle wonder. And so you walk quietly into the deepening night, ready for what comes next. The lane narrows as you leave the courtyard, the stones beneath your feet glistening faintly from a recent sprinkle of rain. The night air holds a soft dampness, now cool against your skin, and the scent of river mist returns, mingling with the sweetness of baked bread that still lingers in the corners of the square. Each step feels quieter than the last, as though the town itself is inviting you deeper into its secret rhythm. You notice how the houses lean close together, their plaster walls painted in soft pastels that the moonlight has turned into shades of pearl and silver. Wooden beams cut dark lines against the walls, and flower boxes rest empty for the night, their petals folded like tired eyelids. You touch one of the shutters as you pass a rough wood grain cool with night dew. It feels grounding, a reminder that here every detail holds the memory of hands that built, painted, tended. The recurring motif calls you again, the water. You hear it now not only as the flowing river, but as tiny trickles seeping from gutters and downspouts, sliding into the cobbles with soft murmurs. The whole town, it seems, is part of a single watery breath. Each sound is a reminder of continuity, of flow, of ease. At the next bend, the street opens suddenly into a wider view. Before you rises the castle perched high above its tower, painted with stripes of red and cream, crowned with a roof that gleams like copper under the moonlight. It is said that this tower has watched over Český Krumlov since the 13th century, an ancient guardian of all who wander here. Tonight, it feels less like a fortress and more like a lantern lit from within to guide you softly forward. You let your eyes follow its height, tracing from the stone base to the painted facade, then up to the windows that shine with faint glows. Each window seems to tell its own story, one perhaps still lit by a late scholar's lamp, another dim with memory of laughter that echoed earlier in the evening, another shuttered, completely holding silence like a secret. You pause here, breathing slowly, letting the sight settle deep into you. Inhale the cool night. Exhale your day's weight. With each breath, you feel the boundary between your body and this place soften until you are not just visiting, you are becoming part of the town's rhythm. A micro story drifts through your thoughts. Long ago, travelers would arrive here by river, their boats carrying salt and goods from distant lands. They say the water itself guided them, for the river bends sharply around this hill, as though bowing in deference to the town. In return, the townspeople built their lives in harmony with it, shaping streets, markets, and bridges along its course. Tonight, as you stand here, you feel that same harmony, the way the river still decides how footsteps move, how lights flicker, how dreams unfold. You turn gently and wander toward a small tavern tucked beneath a low archway. Its door is closed now, but the aroma still lingers. Roasted meats, smoked cheese, and the faint bitterness of dark Czech beer. You imagine the warmth inside earlier this evening, wooden tables, laughter, echoing firelight, dancing on stone walls. For now, it is quiet, but the lingering scent feels like a comfort, left behind a reassurance that joy lives here even in silence. As you move past, your hand brushes against the cool plaster of the wall. You pause, noticing the texture smooth in some places, rough in others. You close your eyes briefly and listen. A gentle breeze stirs. Somewhere faintly, the strum of a lute floats again through the night air. And beneath it all, the motif, the river steady, timeless, echoing with the rhythm of your breath. You walk on toward a wooden bridge that stretches across the Vltava. Its beams creak softly under your steps, and the scent of aged oak rises around you. Leaning over the railing, you gaze at the water below. Moonlight drifts across its ripples, scattering into silver fragments. For a moment, you notice your own reflection, softened, blurred, not just yourself, but mingled with the town's lights. The river seems to tell you here, you belong to something larger, something that flows without end. Your mind drifts briefly to a memory back home, perhaps a quiet evening by a lake when fireflies glowed at the water's edge and the hum of crickets filled the air. That same sense of timelessness is here, though, shaped by another land, another history. It is a reminder that peace is universal, found wherever water meets night, and a gentle silence lingers. You close your eyes, resting your arms on the railing, and take another breath. Inhale cool air touched with pine from distant hills. Exhale release of all you carried into this night. You let your shoulders drop further, your jaw soften, your eyelids grow heavier. When you open your eyes again, the castle looms above, more brightly, its reflection shimmering below. You know that soon you will climb toward it, walking through winding alleys and hidden staircases. But not yet. For now, the river is your companion, steady and patient, waiting to guide you forward. The water's murmur is softer here, almost like a lullaby. You listen closely, and in the rhythm of ripples against stone, you imagine words not in any language you know, but in the gentle cadence of comfort. The town is speaking to you not through voices, but through the conversation of stone, wood, and water. As you step off the bridge, you notice a lantern flickering at the edge of the path. Its light trembles in the breeze, casting playful shadows across the cobbles. You follow its glow, feeling once again the pull of mystery, as though the night is opening doors only you can walk through. And ahead, just beyond the next curve of the street, the sound of the river shifts again, fuller, now stronger, inviting you toward the base of the castle hill. You know the climb is coming, a path rising gently through winding lanes, each step carrying you closer to the heart of the town's nighttime magic. You follow the lantern's patient glow toward the foot of the hill, where the lanes of Latran gather into a soft ascent. The cobbles are warmer here, stones that held the day's light and now give it back in a faint, friendly warmth. A handrail of smooth wood curves along the first set of steps, cool to your touch with the scent of beeswax and old varnish rising as your fingers glide. The river's voice shifts behind you, a quieting murmur as though it is content to wait below while you climb. And yet the motif remains a silver thread in your awareness, the sense of water flowing through everything you touch and see. You take your time, unhurried, steady, letting each step feel like a syllable in a soft poem. The walls lean close, mortar scented with moss, and the faint trace of linden leaves crushed under shoes earlier in the day. Somewhere beyond the bend, a terrace breathes out a whiff of lavender from a pot that still holds the heat of the afternoon sun. And a window just above you glows like a lantern, then dims as someone within snuffs a candle and settles into their night. You imagine the hush in those rooms, the comforters pulled up, a last sip of herbal tea, cooling on a bedside table. Simple rituals that echo your own invitation to rest. A painted sign hangs from iron scrollwork near a low doorway. The images are faded, but clear: a bundle of wheat, a loaf, a narrow mill stream. 100 years ago, perhaps more, a baker's family might have lived here. You picture a small scene in summer before dawn, a figure waking, lighting the oven with careful hands, setting dough to rise near a window, open to the river's breeze. The water motif appears again in your mind, the way steam might have drifted out into the street and then lifted, joining the river's mist in a kind of sleepy dance. You smile at the thought and your shoulders loosen further. The steps bend beneath an archway of stone. Above you, far above, like a bridge through the air, the cloak bridge runs along the castle's heights, its stacked arcades pale in moonlight. The arches feel like pages of a book turning, one layer of time set gently upon another. You pause in the shelter of the arch, the air a degree cooler, the stone at your back solid and old. Inhale, slow and comfortable. Feel the breath fill the space behind your ribs. Exhale, long and easy, as if the night exhaled with you. A faint drip echoes from somewhere unseen, a tiny measure of water that tallies the minutes with a patient, friendly rhythm. Light facts arrive softly, part of the place rather than separate from it. The castle you are approaching is centuries deep, its earliest walls raised when the river still determined everything from trade to safety to the gentle shape of daily life. At the top within those walls rests a Baroque theater, preserved like a hush, held between breaths, wooden machinery, painted skies that roll on rails, and candles that once turned stage air to amber. You can almost feel it when you close your eyes. Set pieces that slide with a whisper, curtains that float, illusions created by hand and warmth. No clatter, just the soft timbers of a world made to enchant. Even this knowledge relaxes you, because here artistry has always been a kind of kindness. You round another corner and the town opens below you, rooftops layering like scales of slate and clay. The river gleams around them, one continuous curve, a gentle horseshoe of silver. From this higher place, the water's voice has changed again, diminished into a lullaby that feels more inside you than around you. The motif becomes internal, your breath, aligning with the river's slow bend, your heartbeat easing into its curve. For a moment, you stand very still, letting all of Český Krumlov become a quiet map across your senses, the cool air at your cheeks, the dry wood under your palm, the soft mineral scent of stone, the hint of honey from a shuttered shop where jars wait for morning light. Another micro-story floats in. The terraced stones at your feet are smoothed into waves marks of centuries of souls, horses, wooden carts. You imagine a seamstress climbing these steps at nightfall, a bundle of costumes tucked against her chest for the next festival, pausing where you stand to steady her breath. Perhaps she would listen, just as you are listening to the river's promise below, the same silver thread, assuring her the world is steady, that her work will return to her hands in the morning. The town is filled with such small courage, gentle continuities that carry through the years. You move on with a soft intention. The steps become broader and shallower, designed for an easy sway of pace rather than a hurried climb. You notice a low sheen wall at elbow height, its top freckled with lichen, pale as milk. You trace a line along it as you walk, and it feels like tracing a line in your own mind, smoothing edges, calming corners. Ahead, a lantern pools light over a small fountain set into the wall, no grand design, just an old spout and a stone basin. Water slips from it with a clean musical tone, the motif distilled to a single clear note. You cup your hands under the flow, touch your fingertips to the surface, and bring the coolness to your temples. When the drops slide down your skin, they carry away the day's heat and leave behind a feeling like night's blessing. Beyond the fountain, a gate of dark wood waits its ironwork scrolls shaped like vines. The scent of the gate surprises you. Sun-warmed pitch, the whisper of resin, a memory of forests nearby where pines lean together and speak in breezes. You rest your palm there and notice a softness under the grain where thousands of hands have found the same quiet place to pause. The wood seems to remember, and in that memory you feel included. Just inside a narrow garden path drifts along the outer wall. Even at night you can sense the order of the beds, lavender thyme, something with a citrusy leaf that releases scent when brushed. A bench sits under a linden tree whose heart-shaped leaves have been symbols of home and kindness in this land for generations. The bench is dry, a little warm from the day, and you settle for a moment. The tree's fragrance is subtle green light, like a whispered kindness. You imagine the morning bees that will visit, and then let that thought dissolve, keeping only the sweetness. Mindfully, you breathe again. In the night air, cool and alive. Pause, let it settle. Out, longer than the in-breath, releasing from the collarbones, the ribs, the belly. Each cycle feels like a gentle tide, a microcosm of the river's bend. You are safe here, held by stone, by wood, by water and leaf. The body knows when it is welcomed. It loosens its guard without being asked. A soft detail catches your eye, wax droplets on the edge of a windowsill above, hardened into pale shells. Earlier, perhaps someone placed a candle there to mark a celebration or to honor a steady tradition of light at dusk. You think of the old habit of setting a candle to guide travelers, and you realize that even now the town is lit for you in small, thoughtful ways. A closed bookstore has left a lamp low behind the glass. A tiny gallery has tilted a painting toward the street so that its blues glow. A studio window holds a ceramic bowl that gleams like moonlit water. Everywhere there are quiet offerings. As you rise from the bench, a breeze carries the faintest scrape, not sharp, merely the sound of wood settling, then stillness returns. You pass under another arch where the stones are chalky to the touch and find yourself on a balcony-like ledge. The view presses close the tower, rising its painted surfaces, tendered by centuries, the faint texture of brushwork visible even now if you squint. The clock face, muted in color, not intrusive, holds time like cupped hands. You consider how many evenings it has seen, how many climbs like yours, slow and content, step by gentle step. Another fact arrives like a lullaby. For a long time, a moat circled these walls, part natural, part shaped by hands. In certain seasons, bears were kept there, a curious tradition of the noble families who ruled this place. Tonight there are no animals, only a green quiet, and the memory of water and leaf. You accept the past as part of the texture, interesting, but soft at the edges, another layer of story that deepens the calm rather than stirring it. You come at last to the edge of the upper courtyard. The stones here are wide and pale, reflecting moonlight as if they were made for it. The air is cooler, touched with the faint metallic scent that open spaces have after nightfall. You listen, and in the deep quiet you hear a small interior music, your own breath, your own heart tuned to the town. The motif of water returns as the tiniest glissando of sound from somewhere beyond. Perhaps the river's voice threading through the arches far below, reminding you that every height belongs to the valley that holds it. Ahead, a wooden door stands slightly ajar. From within, a warmer light strokes the threshold. A candle glow that promises polished floors, old portraits, the hush of a place that knows how to keep secrets safe. You notice the fragrance that rolls out to meet you. Beeswax linen pressed long ago, a trace of dried herbs. All of it feels like an invitation made not to a tourist or a guest, but to you, specifically at this moment on this gentle detour into night. You step closer, feel the cool of the iron latch under your fingertips, and stand with the simplest of choices opening before you. Enter now and learn how the castle holds its calm after dark, or linger a moment longer with the night air against your face, gathering the last silver of the river's song before you go within. Either way, the path is soft, the welcome certain, the next turning already shaped for ease. The candlelight deepens, fluttering once as though it senses your presence, and the door waits patient and kind. When you're ready, we'll slip through quietly into the heart of the castle's evening, where wood and shadow and a tender history will move like water around you, guiding you onward into part 4. The door yields with a gentle sigh and you step into the castle's quiet interior. The air is warmer here, touched with the sweetness of old wood polished by centuries of hands and the faint resin of pine beams overhead. Candlelight wavers along plaster walls painted with scenes from long ago, colors softened by time into tones of rose ochre and dusky blue. The silence is not empty but full, like a pause between verses of a song. The motif of water seems far away now, yet still present in the hush of dripping wax, in the soft echo of your own breath against stone, in the rhythm of your heart, slowing as though keeping pace with the castle itself. You move softly through the hall, footsteps absorbed by carpets woven with patterns of vines and blossoms. Each detail feels like an embrace from the past textiles that once warmed cold winters. Portraits gazing from frames gilded but worn, their faces calm with the serenity that seems to welcome you across centuries. You pause before one portrait, noticing a woman's eyes painted in a shade of green that still holds its clarity. Her hand rests upon a small dog at her lap, and for a moment, you imagine her life listening to the same river you have heard, walking the same stone lanes, breathing the same linden air. The motif continues here not as sound but as continuity, a flow of life connecting then and now. A staircase rises nearby, its banister smooth beneath your hand, its curve elegant as a stream. You climb slowly, each step creaking, like a soft reminder that even wood can remember. Halfway up, you pause, resting your palm on the rail. You let your body notice the ease of standing here, feet secure, shoulders released, breath even. Inhale the beeswax and old linen scent that floats down from the rooms above. Exhale with a sense of settling, as though placing your whole being into the keeping of this place. At the top, a doorway leads into the Baroque theater. Though you cannot enter, the heavy curtain is drawn just enough to allow your eyes a glimpse. You see a fragment of painted scenery, perhaps a forest in faded green, and the edge of a stage where boards glow like amber in candlelight. A guide might tell you that centuries ago, elaborate machines of wood and rope shifted entire worlds across this stage. Clouds rolled oceans, swelled, forests appeared with a whisper of wheels. Tonight, all is still, but in the stillness lies the same enchantment. You imagine a performance without sound, without applause, only the slow turning of painted skies and the hush of an audience lulled toward wonder. The motif touches you again here. The quiet mechanisms of the theater, once powered by hand, mirrored the same patience of the river's flow. Both were ways of creating movement, one shaping nature into art, the other carrying art into nature. The thought makes you smile faintly, your lips curving before you even realize it. You drift onward into a gallery where windows look down upon the town below. The rooftops are smaller now, the river bending around them like a silver arm. You rest your forehead lightly against the cool glass, and a wave of comfort floods through you. There is something universal about looking down at a town at night, the way lights glow like hearths, the way smoke curls gently into the dark sky. You think of small towns back in America, perhaps in New England, where autumn nights bring the smell of apple cider and chimney smoke, and Main Street glows in amber from lamplight. Though oceans apart, the feeling is the same, the reassurance of belonging, of knowing every window contains a story of rest. Your eyes follow the river as it disappears around the bend, and you realize the motif has carried you here again, reminding you that even as you ascend, the flow continues steady and faithful. You breathe with it, in, slow and calm, out, deeper and longer. Your body responds with gratitude, muscles softening, jaw unclenching, eyelids heavier with each cycle. In the stillness, another micro-story emerges. They say that during the Renaissance, nobles of the castle would host feasts that lasted for days. Musicians played, torches burned, and the river below reflected their joy like a companion in celebration. Yet for all the grandeur, it was always the same river that sustained them, providing water, food, and safe passage. You reflect that Even in grandeur, the simplest flows sustain life. And tonight in your quiet journey, it is the simple flow of breath, the steady movement of words that sustains your calm. You turn from the window and wander toward a smaller chamber. Here the light is dimmer, only a single lantern glowing at the far wall. Shelves line the room stacked with books whose spines gleam with gilt, faded to copper. You trace a finger along them, dust rising faintly in the glow. You imagine the words within histories, poems, accounts of lands far and near, all silent now waiting for another night to be opened. The library's air carries a hint of leather and dried paper, a fragrance that speaks of endurance of thoughts preserved across time. Sitting on a carved chair by the shelves, you let your body rest. The wood is cool, but shaped to hold you gently. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the hush. Even here, where water is not seen or heard, the motif lingers. You sense it in the steady pulse of your own veins, in the fluid drift of thought giving way to dream. A gentle draft flows through a crack in the old window, and with it the faintest sound of the river returns distant, muted but faithful. You realize that no matter where you are in this town, its flow remains. It is a companion not demanding attention, only offering presence. And with that awareness, your mind feels steadier, your body more at ease, as though the river itself carries you into rest. You rise from the chair steps soft against the wooden floor. The corridor ahead is darker, a path lit only by the silver glow slipping through arched windows. You follow it, letting the light guide you forward. The scent of stone thickens cool and clean, and your hand brushes against the wall's rough texture. Each grain of stone feels like a word of comfort, solid, enduring, patient. Ahead, the corridor bends toward another courtyard. You sense open air waiting the night, ready to welcome you again. You step lightly, knowing that soon you will return to the fresh breath of the sky, to the sight of towers and rooftops softened by moonlight. And beyond that, the path will carry you deeper into Český Krumlov's nighttime embrace. The door creaks open with a whisper, letting in the cool night breeze. You step through, and once again the sound of flowing water rises to meet you, fuller, now more insistent, as though reminding you the journey is still unfolding. The night air greets you again as you step from the dim corridor into the castle's open courtyard. The coolness is immediate, a gentle caress across your cheeks, carrying the mineral freshness of stone and the faint sweetness of grass hidden in shadow. Above the sky stretches wide and patient stars, scattered like grains of salt over deep indigo. The air feels different here, lighter, freer, as though stepping outside has unfastened some hidden clasp within your chest. You breathe in slow and steady, and notice your shoulders sink another degree into ease. The motif of water is with you still, though the river flows far below. Its voice rises upward in softened tones, a low shimmer threading between the walls. It reaches you here, not as sound alone, but as vibration, like a hum beneath the stones. The flow has become a pulse, reassuring, reminding you that every path in this town eventually leads back to the water's gentle embrace. You walk into the courtyard center, where flagstones gleam faintly under the moon. A fountain once stood here, though now only its base remains. You imagine its sound in centuries past, streams leaping into the basin, laughter echoing on summer evenings, the splash of buckets filled for morning bread. Though dry, the stones still carry the memory of flow, and as you stand near them, you sense that same continuity. Even in stillness, water endures within the imagination, nourishing you with its remembered song. The castle walls around you rise high, Patched with centuries of repair, their textures uneven but reassuringly solid. Windows watch from above, some shuttered, others cracked open to the night. One window glows faintly with candlelight. You imagine a caretaker or scholar still awake, their silhouette bent over parchment, their hours given to preserving what the walls have seen. The thought comforts you, even in silence. Life continues, gentle and watchful. From the courtyard, a stairway climbs toward the outer terrace. You ascend slowly, your hand grazing the stone rail worn smooth by countless others. At the top, the world expands. The terrace unfurls like a balcony above, dreams the town stretching below in a mosaic of roofs, and the river curving like a silver ribbon around them. Beyond, the dark outline of hills embraces the horizon, their tops softened by mist. The wind carries scents from far and near wood smoke, from a chimney pine resin, from forest damp earth cooling under night's touch. You pause at the balustrade, resting your forearms on its cold surface. The view is timeless, the kind that holds you in place, urging you to linger. The rooftops resemble a patchwork quilt, tiles of terracotta slate and faded copper sewn together by narrow streets. Some chimneys still exhale the faintest threads of smoke, like sighs drifting skyward. The river glimmers with moonlight, mirroring the stars in wavering fragments. You realize that in this single view, the motif is complete: water above water, below sky, and river mirroring each other in an endless flow. You let yourself sink into the rhythm of this sight. Inhale, feeling the air cool and pure, touched with pine. Exhale, feeling the day dissolve further, leaving only this moment. Your eyelids grow heavier, not with weariness, but with peace. It is as if the town itself is whispering that rest is not something you must reach. It is already here, around you, within you. A micro story rises in your thoughts. Centuries ago, festivals filled this terrace with torches and music. Townsfolk gathered in bright costumes, their voices mingling with the deep toll of bells. Fireworks once lit the sky here, their sparks reflected in the river's curve. And yet, even on those nights of bright celebration, the river flowed unchanged, quiet, steady, grounding the joy in something eternal. Tonight, in contrast, the terrace is silent, but the same grounding remains. Joy or silence, day or night, the water holds it all, teaching you that peace is not dependent on circumstance, only on presence. You lean back slightly, letting your spine rest against the cold stone pillar. For a moment, you close your eyes and imagine yourself floating, not in the air, not in the river, but in the space between, supported on all sides by the stillness of night. You feel how safe you are here, how fully the world allows you to let go. The sensation is both grounding and freeing, like lying in a hammock on a warm evening. Back home, fireflies blinking above as the crickets sing. That memory merges with this place, weaving two worlds together in the shared language of calm. You open your eyes to find the stars brighter now, as though the sky has leaned closer. The Milky Way stretches faintly across the darkness, a river of light echoing the river of water below. The motif speaks once more, two flows, one above, one below, holding you between them like a cradle. You smile softly, your lips barely curving, and allow yourself to simply be still, steady, present. The terrace path curves toward another archway, its lantern flickering low. You know it will guide you back into stone corridors where candlelight and shadow weave their own quiet spell. Yet for now, you linger a few breaths longer, resting in the embrace of river and sky. When at last you turn, the lantern's glow waits for you, steady and warm. You walk toward it with unhurried steps, knowing that beyond the arch, another layer of Český Krumlov's nighttime story is ready to unfold. The lantern's glow draws you under the archway, where the air shifts once more cooler, more intimate, the sense of stone and candle wax, mingling like a soft perfume of history. The walls narrow around you, the ceiling low, and your footsteps sound different here, as though the stones themselves are whispering your presence back to you. It feels like entering a pause between heartbeats, a quiet chamber of night where the world listens as closely as you do. The motif of water seems far away in this cloistered passage, yet it does not leave you. Instead, it lingers as memory, the feel of cool drops on your temples at the fountain, the shimmer of the river far below. Even without hearing it, you sense the flow running through the veins of the castle, a subtle reminder that life always moves beneath the stillness. The corridor opens into another courtyard, smaller, enclosed by walls painted with fading frescoes. You pause to take them in. Though time has softened the colors, you can still make out shapes, mythic creatures, garlands of flowers, musicians playing stringed instruments. Their music is silent now, but you imagine how it would have sounded rising into the night air, carried on the same breeze that brushes your cheek now. For a moment, you stand still, breathing with them, a connection across centuries, as if your exhale completes their song. To your left, a narrow stair climbs into a tower chamber. You ascend slowly, the wooden steps creaking beneath your weight, their scent sharper, here aged pine resin, lingering like a whisper of forests long since cut. At the top, the chamber is round its walls, pierced with narrow slits of windows. Through one, you see the river's silver curve. Through another, rooftops glowing under the moon. Through another, the dark sweep of hills. Each view feels like a verse in the same poem, reminding you that the town is both shelter and journey, enclosed yet open, grounded yet flowing. You rest against the cool stone wall, letting the chamber cradle you. The motif returns clearly now from one window. The sound of water below drifts faintly upward. It is softer than before, yet unmistakable, like a lullaby sung from another room. You realize that wherever you go in Český Krumlov, the river finds you, whether in sound, in memory, or in the rhythm of your own breath. It is as if the town has chosen it as its heartbeat, steady and faithful, guiding everyone who belongs here, including you. A micro-story drifts into your mind as you lean there. They say that during sieges centuries ago, townspeople relied on the river's bend for protection, its loop like an arm around them. Soldiers would march the walls above their torches, flickering in the night, yet below the same water moved steadily, unconcerned with turmoil. To the people, it was a symbol of constancy, that even in unrest, something remained unbroken. Tonight, as you listen, you feel the same reassurance. No matter what noise the day carried, the flow continues. And you are part of it now, safe within its keeping. Leaving the chamber, you descend carefully, each step bringing you back to the courtyard. From here, another passage leads you outward onto a terrace that stretches along the castle's outer wall. The view here is breathtaking. The river curves almost entirely around the town, shimmering like a silver thread, stitching together every roof, every alley, every dream. Moonlight lies across the water, broken only by the occasional ripple where fish stir or a night breeze brushes the surface. You lean on the balustrade, feeling its cold stone under your palms, and allow the sight to steady you. A memory rises, perhaps of standing on a wooden pier back in America, watching the way a lake mirrors the stars. You recall the scent of pine needles, the hum of cicadas, the soft rocking of the dock. That memory mingles seamlessly with this view, proving that peace wears many faces, but feels the same wherever it is found. You let the thought linger, then dissolve, keeping only the comfort it leaves behind. You wander along the terrace slowly, your hand trailing the stone wall. The surface is rough in places, cool and uneven, each texture another reminder of age. Lanterns burn here and there, their flames steady, their light pooling in golden circles. Between them, shadow deepens, but never feels threatening. Instead, it wraps you like a shawl, inviting you deeper into quiet. You come upon a small alcove where a bench waits carved from a single piece of stone. You sit feeling its firmness beneath you, grounding you in the present. The night air flows freely here, carrying with it a subtle mixture of scents, cool river mist rising from below resin, of pine trees from the hills, and the faint sweetness of linden leaves. You breathe them all in slowly, letting each fragrance layer upon the other until they blur into one calming present. Here you pause for a moment of mindfulness. Inhale gently. Notice the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your chest, expanding your ribs. Hold it softly, just for a heartbeat. Then exhale longer than the inhale, feeling the weight of your body sink deeper onto the bench. Again, inhale steady and unforced. Exhale, letting go of tension you didn't realize you still carried. Each cycle feels like a tide carrying you further from the shore of your day, further into the sea of rest. Your gaze returns to the river below. From this height, it gleams like liquid glass moonlight sliding across it in long ribbons. The motif has never felt more luminous. You realize that the river is not only the heart of this town, it has become the rhythm of your own journey tonight. Each appearance, whether sound, scent, memory, or vision, has been another step deeper, another reminder that peace is always flowing nearby, ready to be noticed. As you rise from the bench, you notice the faint toll of a bell drifting up from the town. Not urgent, not loud, but slow and kind, like a voice marking time for those who listen. You smile softly at its tone, then turn toward the next lantern glowing in the distance. The terrace path curves ahead, leading you further into the castle's quiet secrets. Beyond the last arch of the wall, you sense another courtyard waiting, darker and still. The night deepens, the journey continues, and somewhere ahead, the river's voice will return once more, perhaps stronger, perhaps softer, but always faithful. And so you walk on unhurried, letting the lantern light carry you toward the next unfolding wonder of Český Krumlov's nighttime magic. The terrace narrows, guiding you gently back toward the slope that leads down into the town. You pause at the archway where stone meets air, looking once more at the view below, the rooftops curled within the river's bend, the water glistening like molten silver. From this high vantage, Český Krumlov feels like a dream held in the palm of the night, safe, complete, unhurried. You breathe it in, a slow grounding inhale, and then let it go with ease, as though exhaling carries you one step closer to sleep. The motif of water is your companion still. It hums faintly from the river below, carried upward on the breeze. The sound is softer now, almost imagined, but no less steady. It feels like the town's way of reassuring you wherever you walk, you are never far from its flowing heart. That sense of continuity soothes you, like being gently rocked, like listening to the same lullaby sung in different tones. The descent begins with a winding staircase built of stone. Your hand glides over the rail, cool and firm, its ironwork curling into spirals that echo the patterns of water eddies. Step by step, you move downward, the rhythm of your footfalls, steady and slow. Each landing offers a brief view, the tower rising behind you, the rooftops spreading below the river, curving further into shadow. The town seems to breathe with you, expanding and settling as you move closer. Halfway down, a small terrace opens, framed by carved balustrades. You pause, resting your palms on the smooth stone warmed faintly by the day just past. From here, you glimpse another hidden courtyard nestled within the castle walls. Lanterns glow along its edges, their light golden and gentle, falling across empty benches and ivy climbing the walls. You imagine it earlier in the evening when voices might have lingered here. Cups of mulled wine shared beneath stars, music rising faintly from a lute or violin. Now it is silent, holding its warmth like an ember that belongs only to the night. The motif returns in another form, not just in sound but in reflection. The river far below mirrors the moon, a broken disk of silver scattered into pieces by ripples. You watch it for a moment, letting your gaze soften until the reflection blurs. It reminds you of gazing into a glass of water before bed back home, the way light bends, sways across the surface. Familiar, simple, calming. The universality of water's presence, the way it carries both grandeur and intimacy, is what settles you most. You continue your descent, the air growing slightly warmer as you near the town. The scent shifts too, from resinous pine and cool stone to the sweeter notes of hearth smoke, faint bread crust, and the mineral tang of river mist rising to meet you. The aromas layer together like verses in the same lullaby, telling you without words that you are returning not only downward but inward toward the heart of night. The staircase ends at a gate, its wooden door reinforced with iron bands. You run your fingers across them, feeling the chill of the metal. Beyond lies a narrow lane, cobblestones uneven leading toward the river. You step through and the sound of flowing water swells again, fuller this time, its presence immediate. The motif greets you like an old friend, faithful and familiar, carrying you deeper into the town's embrace. The lane winds between houses that lean close together, their plaster walls pale in moonlight, their wooden beams dark and strong. Curtains are drawn, but light seeps through their edges, thin ribbons of gold against stone. You imagine those within already resting there, breathing slow, their dreams carrying them gently downstream. Each window feels like a promise. Here rest is honored, night is safe. You pass a low archway where ivy climbs thick against the wall. The scent here is green, earthy, touched with dew. A carved wooden sign hangs above, depicting a river fish, perhaps a reminder of the Vltava's gifts. You pause beneath it, hearing the motif echo again, the sound of moving water blending with the memory of meals prepared, stories told, lives sustained. The town and river are inseparable, and you feel yourself woven into that bond. Further along, you cross another small bridge. Its wooden planks creak beneath your weight, releasing the scent of resin and damp oak. Leaning on its railing, you look down to where the river glides past darkly, its surface shining with moonlight. A pair of ripples break the stillness, then fade, leaving only calm. You linger here a while, the sound wrapping around you like a blanket, lulling your thoughts into stillness. A micro-story drifts into your awareness. Long ago, travelers would arrive at this very point by boat, stepping onto the banks weary from their journey. Some carried goods, others carried only themselves searching for rest. They say that townsfolk would greet them not with suspicion, but with welcome, offering bread and a place by the fire. Perhaps it is only legend, but as you lean on the railing, you believe it. The warmth of this town is palpable, even in silence, even in shadow. It radiates a quiet belonging. Your breath falls into rhythm with the river. Inhale as it swells against the stones. Exhale as it flows onward. You let the tide of your body and the tide of the water become one. Each breath carries you further from the weight of waking thought, deeper into the gentle current of rest. The bridge ends near a small square, its cobbles lit by a single lantern. A bakery sits closed at one corner, its window dark but still fragrant with the memory of bread. A wooden bench waits near its door, and you sit for a moment, feeling the wood cool beneath you. The motif of water remains a distant murmur now, while above you the stars shimmer like reflections inverted. Sky and river, above and below, the town cradled between them like a dream in balance. You rise drawn toward a street that curves back toward the heart of town. The lantern light leads you on steady and kind, the sound of the river still following, still flowing, still calling you further into Český Krumlov's nighttime magic. The curve of the lane leads you toward the river's edge once more, and suddenly the town opens before you in a wide, gentle sweep. The Vltava bends here, creating a natural stage where water, stone, and sky join in quiet harmony. You pause at the riverbank, leaning against a low stone wall, and the sound of flowing water becomes the dominant voice of the night, clear, soothing, infinite. The motif has reached its fullest presence, yet not distant, not subtle, but whole. Its rhythm settles into you completely, like the steady beat of a heart reminding you that you are safe, you are home in this moment. The air is cooler here, touched with mist rising from the river. It brushes your skin like silk, carrying a scent both earthy and sweet, the mineral freshness of water blended with the faint perfume of linden trees nearby. You breathe it in, feeling it anchor deep inside you. With each inhale, you draw the river closer. With each exhale, you let go of the last remnants of the day. A micro-story drifts into your thoughts as you stand there. Folklore whispers that the river here once carried messages, tiny wooden boats set afloat by children, each holding a candle, each bearing a wish. They would watch them drift downstream, glowing like stars set loose upon the water. Some say the wishes found their way to the castle, others that they were carried into dreams themselves. Tonight, though, no candles float. You sense the presence of those wishes, lingering in the ripples, waiting for anyone who leans close enough to listen. You imagine your own wish unspoken, carried gently into the night. The houses lining the river glow faintly, their reflections shimmering across the water like brushstrokes on liquid canvas. You notice how each window holds a different hue, amber gold, soft ivory. Yet together, they create a harmony that feels more like music than light. The motif is present here too. The lights ripple with the river's flow, never still, never harsh, always shifting with the current. It reminds you that beauty does not need permanence to be real. It only needs presence. You rest your hands on the stone wall, feeling its cool dampness seep into your palms. The sensation grounds you, draws you further into calm. Above the stars mirror the river's silver threads. You realize you are standing between two reflections, sky and water, and that both hold you with the same gentle embrace. For a moment, You close your eyes and imagine yourself floating suspended in this space of balance, not moving forward, not backward, simply resting in the flow. The town itself seems to lean closer in this moment. The castle rises above, softened in moonlight, its tower like a sentinel, not of power, but of comfort. The rooftops tilt toward you, their slopes gleaming faintly. The trees along the river sway just enough to whisper their leaves, brushing the air like hushed voices of reassurance. You feel the entire town breathing with you, inhale, exhale, the same rhythm, the same tide. Your thoughts drift toward home again, toward the American nights you've known, perhaps standing on a small town bridge in summer, listening to the hum of crickets and the slow lap of water against wooden posts. The familiarity is striking, though separated by continents, the feeling is identical. It is the shared language of water at night, a universal calm. You realize that peace does not belong to one place. It is a gift carried by rivers, lakes, streams. Wherever the world offers its quiet song, you take another breath deeper, now letting the river's coolness expand your chest, letting it dissolve any weight still clinging within. Your eyelids grow heavier, your body looser, your thoughts softer. The motif has become inseparable from you now. It is no longer something you hear, but something you are. At the edge of the square, you notice a small chapel, its door closed, but a lantern glowing faintly within. Its bell tower rises modestly, not tall, but steady. A faint scent of beeswax drifts from it, mingling with the river's freshness. You imagine the candles flickering inside, a quiet vigil for anyone who passes. It feels like a blessing left in place for you alone, a reminder that light and flow always remain, even in the deepest hours of night. The water's song grows fuller as you follow the river bank. Each step lands with a softness that echoes within you. The cobbles here are smoother, worn by centuries of feet and cartwheels, yet they feel forgiving under your soles. You pause at a bench set along the path. Its wood is rough, but welcoming, its placement perfect for gazing at the river's bend. You sit, letting the wood hold your weight, letting your breath find its rhythm again. Inhale, pause, exhale, longer, softer, deeper. From this seat, the motif of water takes on new meaning. You realize it has been your guide all along, calling you through courtyards, terraces, and bridges, whispering its presence in sound and scent, in reflection and rhythm. It has been patient, consistent, leading you not just through the town, but inward into calm. The night deepens. The lanterns flicker lower, the town quieter still. You remain by the river, listening, watching, resting. A sense of wonder rises gently, not sharp or sudden, but soft like warmth, spreading through your chest. You are part of this night, part of this flow, part of a story larger than yourself, yet intimate enough to cradle you into sleep. When at last you rise, the path curves onward, following the river's bend. The motif goes with you, steady as ever, carrying you toward what lies ahead. Somewhere beyond the next turn, the journey will deepen further, carrying you closer to the heart of Český Krumlov's nighttime magic. The path follows the river, gently curving along its outer edge, as if leading you into a secret kept only for the night. The sound of water is stronger here, not rushing, not forceful, but steady, a hushed continuity that feels like the very pulse of the town. The motif holds you in its embrace, as though each ripple carries you deeper into rest. A low stone wall guides your steps, and beyond it, the river glistens with a surface so smooth it seems like glass. The moon paints a silver trail upon it, broken now and then by the flick of a fish or the brush of a breeze that turns the glow into shimmering fragments. The scent of the water rises cool and mineral, tinged with the faint sweetness of nearby blossoms. It is a fragrance of both earth and sky, rooted and endless, grounding and expansive. Ahead, you notice a small wooden dock stretching out from the bank. Lanterns hang at its posts, their flames swaying with the breeze, throwing golden circles across the planks. You step onto it slowly, hearing the wood creak under your weight. The sound is gentle like an old lullaby, and the dock itself rocks with the current's motion. You let the rhythm sway you, a cradle of wood and water holding you steady. You pause at the dock's edge, leaning against the railing. The river lies open before you, its bend disappearing into the darkness of trees. For a long moment, you simply watch light and shadow drifting the current, carrying everything forward in silence. It feels like a mirror of your own thoughts, once scattered, now drawn into a single stream flowing gently onward. A micro-story rises as you stand there. Long ago, barges traveled this very river, carrying salt from distant mines. Traders would guide their boats through the curves, resting here before continuing onward. They say that sometimes under moonlight, the boatmen would pause, lower their lanterns close to the water, and let the current carry their reflections away. A gesture of surrender, of trust in the flow. Tonight, you feel yourself part of that same tradition. You do not need to steer, only to rest and let the river's rhythm carry you. You close your eyes for a moment. The dock sways slightly under your feet, the air cool on your cheeks, the river's song steady in your ears. You breathe in, the cool dampness of night touched with pine and flowers. You breathe out, longer, softer, your whole body surrendering to gravity, sinking into the embrace of wood and water. Each exhale feels like setting down a weight you didn't realize you carried. When you open your eyes, you notice the reflection of the castle above. Its painted tower glows faintly, doubled in the water, as though the river itself holds a memory of stone and light. The motif deepens here. The flow is not only around you, but within you, holding past and present, earth and sky, wakefulness and dream. Everything is reflected, everything is carried, nothing is lost. On the far bank, trees line the edge, their branches drooping low, dipping toward the water, as if in reverence. The leaves shiver in the breeze, making a sound like whispered prayers. You imagine that the trees themselves are listening to the river, letting it soothe them through long nights, just as it soothes you now. You linger, the world around you slowing further. The dock beneath you creaks softly. The lanterns flicker. The water glimmers. Each sound, each movement arrives with perfect gentleness. There is nothing to resist, nothing to grasp, only to be here, to belong. Your thoughts drift again toward home. Perhaps you recall an evening by a lake when you lay back on a pier, watching fireflies rise as stars appeared above. The memory is tender, soft-edged, and it blends seamlessly with this present moment. You realize that peace, whether in a Czech town or an American summer, carries the same feeling, belonging without effort. The motif of water ties them together, lakes, rivers, oceans, all speaking the same quiet language of calm. As you prepare to leave the dock, you rest your hand on the wooden post. Its grain is rough under your palm, its scent faintly resinous. You imagine all who have stood here before, boatmen, townsfolk, travelers, each pausing, each listening to the same flow. That continuity comforts you. You are not alone in this moment. You are part of a long line of quiet souls who have leaned on this same railing, listened to this same river, and found rest. You step back onto the cobbled path. The lantern light leads you onward, guiding you along the curve of the river. The sound remains following faithfully like a lullaby that will not end until you are deeply asleep. Ahead, a bridge rises, its arches reflected perfectly in the water below. You know that crossing it will bring you further into the town's heart, toward the quiet wonder waiting in its hidden lanes. But for now, you walk slowly, savoring the way the night deepens, the way each breath carries you further into calm. The river flows beside you, steady and sure. Its voice tells you without words, keep walking, keep listening, keep resting. And so you do one step, then another, guided always by the nighttime magic of Český Krumlov. The bridge rises before you, its arches bold against the shimmer of the river. Lanterns line its sides, their flames swaying gently in the breeze, casting gold onto the cobblestones beneath your feet. As you step onto it, the motif swells water, flowing beneath lanterns, flickering above the sound of each ripple, echoing softly like a heartbeat made visible. The bridge feels like a threshold, carrying you not just across the river, but deeper into the secret heart of the night. Your footsteps fall slowly on the stones, each one softened by the rhythm of water below. You lean against the railing for a moment, the iron cool under your hands, and gaze at the river's surface. The reflection of the castle stretches long and wavering, its tower elongated into a ribbon of light. The houses, too, are mirrored, warm windows turned to molten amber, trembling gently with the current. It feels as if the whole town has leaned down to rest its head upon the water, trusting it to hold their dreams. You breathe in the air here, cool, moist, faintly sweet, with the perfume of night-blooming flowers that cling to garden walls nearby. Exhaling, you release another layer of the day. The motif guides you: inhale like the river swelling against its stones. Exhale like the current flowing onward without resistance. Each cycle carries you deeper into ease. Halfway across the bridge, you pause. A memory flickers into your mind. An American-covered bridge, perhaps in New England, where autumn leaves once drifted in bright cascades around you. The smell of wood, the sound of water below, the way time seemed to pause in that sheltered space. Tonight feels the same, though the bridge is stone and the air is touched with old-world history. You realize that bridges themselves are motifs, symbols of passage, of connection, of moving while being held. A story comes to you quiet as a whisper. It is said that in earlier centuries, a craftsman built this bridge with his own hands, stone by stone, dedicating each to a prayer for safe crossings. Travelers believe those prayers stayed bound into the mortar itself. As you stand here, you feel them still, an invisible blessing laid across your shoulders, easing you into peace. The water beneath murmurs, steady and patient. You close your eyes, letting the sound wash through you. It feels like the river is speaking directly, not with words, but with presence. It tells you nothing is hurried here, nothing is required. You may simply be and be carried. You continue to the far side where the town gathers close again. Narrow lanes stretch out, cobbled and quiet, lined with houses whose walls glow faintly in lantern light. The windows are shuttered, but their silence feels warm rather than empty, as if each household is gently sleeping, offering their rest to the night itself. The motif follows you, water still audible though more distant, like a lullaby fading softly into the background. You walk slowly into the old town's heart. The streets curve and bend sometimes, narrowing so much you can stretch your hands and touch both sides. wooden doors, studded with iron line the way their surface is worn smooth by centuries of use. Above them, signs carved with painted symbols creak gently in the breeze: a fish, a loaf of bread, a star. Each one feels like a fragment of story left in place for those who wander. You pause at one door, noticing a faint smell of smoke and honey. Perhaps earlier beeswax candles burned inside their glow, lighting a small family table. You imagine them finishing a simple meal, laughter low, then extinguishing the flame to leave the house in peaceful shadow. That sense of quiet belonging seeps into you, comforting, grounding. The motif reappears in another form, though you cannot hear the river clearly. Here, you feel its presence beneath the stones. The whole town seems to float upon its flow, as though the streets themselves are carried gently downstream. You let that awareness seep into your steps, walking slowly, feeling yourself borne forward without effort. At the corner of a square, a fountain trickles softly. Its stone basin is filled with dark water, reflecting the lanterns like scattered coins. The sound is delicate, steady, a miniature echo of the larger river. You dip your fingers lightly into it, the water cool, almost startling against your skin. When you lift your hand, droplets fall back with a quiet music, each one a tiny reminder of the motif, flowing, repeating, eternal. You sit on the fountain's edge for a moment, feeling its stone cool beneath you. The square is hushed, the air scented with bread, lingering from a closed bakery. You close your eyes and simply breathe. Inhale the sweetness, exhale into stillness. Your body feels heavier now, not with fatigue, but with release, as though the town itself is holding you steady. Another story surfaces. They say that in winter, when the river froze, children would skate along its glassy surface, their laughter echoing between the houses. Lanterns would line the banks, and the whole town would gather, warming their hands on cups of spiced wine. Tonight, though it is summer, you feel the echo of that joy in the stones beneath your feet. The river remembers, carrying not just water, but memory, not just sound, but feeling. As you rise from the fountain, you notice the street narrowing again, leading deeper into the labyrinth of the old town. The lantern light ahead flickers as if beckoning you forward. You follow unhurried, your breath still in rhythm with the river's unseen flow. The motif is with you. Sound, memory, reflection, rhythm. Each layer weaving tighter around your awareness. You realize it has become not just part of the town's story, but part of your own. You are flowing with it now, carried deeper into the heart of Český Krumlov's nighttime magic. Ahead, the lane bends, promising another hidden square, another lantern pool, another quiet wonder waiting to unfold. You walk softly toward it, letting the flow guide you, knowing the night still holds more to reveal. The lane narrows once more, guiding you deeper into the embrace of the old town. The walls lean close, their plaster pale as bone under moonlight, their beams dark with age. You feel the air grow cooler again, touched with the scent of water that you cannot yet see but know is waiting. The motif stirs within you, the steady presence of flow like a companion's hand just beyond reach. At the end of the lane, the space suddenly opens. You find yourself in a hidden courtyard that seems almost untouched by time. Lanterns glow softly along its edges, their light golden, their flames reflected in every pane of glass. At the far side, an archway leads directly to the riverbank. The sound of water is immediate now, fuller, stronger, carrying the night song into this secret place. You walk toward it slowly, your footsteps softened by the worn cobbles. As you pass beneath the arch, the river unfolds before you in its quiet magnificence. This stretches wide open to the stars above, and the surface shimmers with the reflection of countless lights, lanterns, windows, moon, and sky, all merging into one flowing canvas. The motif has reached its most luminous form here. The river is no longer background, it is everything. You lean on the low stone wall at the bank, feeling its coolness under your arms. The scent of water rises strong and clear, mineral earthy, touched with the sweetness of nearby meadows. You breathe deeply, letting it fill your chest. Exhaling, you feel your whole body sink further, like a stone, gently lowering into still water. The air is filled with the music of the river. Not loud, not rushing, but layered ripples against stone eddies, curling the soft lap against wooden posts. It feels like a chorus meant only for you, a private concert of flow. You realize the motif has become more than sound or sight. It is emotion now, a deep tenderness that rises in your chest and spreads outward like warmth. You close your eyes, resting your cheek against your folded arms. The river speaks in its own language, and you understand it without needing words. It tells you that life moves, that all things flow, that rest is not an ending, but a part of the current itself. You feel yourself carried not outward, but inward toward stillness, toward belonging. A micro story floats into your awareness, soft and clear. Long ago, during festivals, townsfolk would release small boats here, each carrying a single candle. The river would bear them away, hundreds of tiny flames drifting downstream like stars set loose upon water. Lovers would watch together, children would laugh, elders would whisper blessings. They believed that as long as the candles floated, peace would remain. Tonight, though, no candles are lit. You can almost see them, their reflections trembling across the current, their flames steady against the night. In your imagination, one drifts closest to you, its glow reflecting in your eyes, a gift from centuries past. The motif deepens still. The water is no longer only around you, it is within you. Your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts have all joined its flow. Inhale like the swell of a ripple. Exhale like its gentle release downstream. You realize that in this moment, you are not separate from the town, not even from the night. You are part of the same current that has carried everything here for centuries. Above the stars mirror the river, scattered and trembling. You feel suspended between two flows, one of water below, one of light above. Together, they hold you as if in a cradle, the town itself rocking you gently toward rest. Your eyelids grow heavier, your body looser, your mind quieter. The emotional connection arrives gently, like dawn arriving within the heart. You sense gratitude, profound, quiet, wordless. Gratitude for the river that carries you, for the town that shelters you, for the night that allows you to rest. It feels as though Český Krumlov itself has opened its arms and welcomed you into its dream. You linger in this space, resting your weight fully on the wall, letting the river's voice lull you. Each sound is a comfort, each ripple a reminder, each reflection a promise that you are safe, you are part of the flow, you are exactly where you belong. When at last you step away, the motif follows. The sound fades only slightly, but its presence within you remains strong. You walk slowly back into the courtyard. Lantern light steady cobbles, warm underfoot. Ahead, another lane curves, beckoning you onward. You know the river will meet you there too, perhaps softer, perhaps only as memory, but always faithful. The night deepens, and with it, your journey into rest. The river carries you, still flowing beside you as you move further into Český Krumlov's nighttime magic. The lane curves away from the courtyard, narrow once more, but you feel no separation from the river behind you. Its song has settled within a quiet presence that continues even when unheard. Each step you take along the cobbles carries that same rhythm, flowing, steady, timeless. The motif has become more than water now. It is the pulse of the night itself, guiding you deeper into calm. The houses lean close overhead, their upper stories almost meeting, creating a tunnel of shadow. Yet lanterns shine at intervals, spilling gentle pools of light that touch the stone with warmth. The air here is still holding the faint scent of bread cooling from a bakery long closed, mingling with the ever-present trace of river mist. You breathe it in your chest, rising slowly, and release it longer, softer, as if the town itself were exhaling with you. You come upon another small square, quiet and serene. A single tree grows at its center, a linden whose leaves form a canopy silvered by moonlight. A wooden bench rests beneath, and you sit letting the night hold you still. The motif reappears in the rustle of leaves overhead, the sound soft, rhythmic like ripples translated into air. Even here, away from the water's edge, the flow continues in another form, reminding you that everything is connected. You lean back, resting your shoulders against the bench. For a long moment, you simply listen to the rustling leaves, to the distant hum of water, to your own steady breath. The world narrows into layers of sound that weave together seamlessly. It feels as though the town has created this small concert just for you, a harmony of earth, air, and water blending into peace. A micro-story rises tender and simple. Long ago, townsfolk would gather under linden trees like this one, for shade in summer, for meetings in autumn, for songs in spring. The linden was a symbol of home, of community, of love. Couples would carve their initials into its bark, families would rest beneath its branches, children would play at its roots. Tonight you imagine them all still here, their laughter lingering like a fragrance in the leaves. The motif carries them too, because just as water flows, so does memory, never fully gone, only carried onward. You close your eyes, letting the feeling of belonging wash through you. Though you are far from home, the sense of familiarity is overwhelming. You recall evenings in American small towns where a single tree stood in the center of a square, surrounded by benches bathed in lamplight. The universality of such spaces touches you deeply, how people everywhere seek the same comfort, shade, rest, togetherness. The recognition fills you with warmth, a gentle reassurance that you are never truly a stranger anywhere the world flows with kindness. When you open your eyes again, the leaves shift in the breeze, sending moonlight dancing across your lap. You smile faintly, the gesture effortless, and rise from the bench. The path leading onward glows faintly in the lantern light, inviting you deeper. The lane guides you once more toward the riverbank. As you approach, the sound swells familiar and faithful, like a voice calling you home. You emerge onto another bridge, smaller than before, wooden planks underfoot, its railings carved with simple designs. Leaning on it, you gaze down at the water. The motif is complete again, flowing, shimmering, carrying light and shadow together. Here the river is quieter, the current slower, as though pausing with you. Its surface mirrors the stars, trembling with each ripple. You feel suspended once more between two reflections, water below, sky above yourself, cradled gently in between. The sensation is profound, tender, almost sacred. You rest your arms on the railing and breathe deeply, Inhale cool mist, damp wood, the faint sweetness of flowers. Exhale long, soft, complete. Your body feels heavier now, your mind slower, your thoughts like leaves drifting downstream. A final story arrives carried by the water itself. They say that those who linger on this bridge at night are granted peaceful dreams. Perhaps it is only folklore, but as you stand here, it feels true. The river's voice has become lullaby, the town's lanterns have become nightlights, and the castle above stands as guardian. Everything is aligned to ease you into rest. You linger a while longer, watching the current move with infinite patience. The motif has reached its fullest meaning. It is not only sound or sight or rhythm. It is trust. Trust that life flows. Trust that rest arrives. Trust that you are carried even when you let go. When you step off the bridge, the lane curves once more, leading toward quieter quarters of the town. The lanterns are fewer now, the night deeper, the sounds softer. You know the journey is beginning to dissolve gently into relaxation. The climax behind you, the peace ahead, infinite. The river follows, always near its song steady. You walk slowly, unhurried, letting the flow carry you forward into the next chapter of Český Krumlov's nighttime magic. The lanes grow quieter now. The lanterns are fewer, their glow softer, casting long shadows that ripple gently across the cobblestones. The sound of footsteps fades quickly into the night air, leaving you surrounded by a silence so deep it feels like an embrace. The motif remains, though more distant, water flowing steadily nearby, its voice, now a background hum like the steady breathing of the town as it sleeps. You pass under a low archway where ivy trails down the wall, its leaves brushing against your sleeve as you move through. The touch is cool and delicate, a reminder that even in stillness, life lingers. The scent of damp stone and green leaves mingles with the faint sweetness of linden blossoms carried by the night breeze. You breathe it in slowly, letting it soften your chest, letting it ease you further into calm. A narrow street opens into a quiet square almost hidden between the houses. Its center holds a simple stone cross worn by centuries of weather, and around it benches wait empty. You sit on one, feeling the wood firm but welcoming beneath you. The night here feels suspended, no movement, no voices, only stillness layered with the memory of what once was. The motif reappears in imagination, though you cannot hear the river clearly from this hidden square. You know it flows nearby. Its presence is like a heartbeat you cannot see but trust, steady and faithful. You realize that peace does not always need sound. It can exist as knowing, as continuity, as assurance. A micro-story surfaces. They say that in earlier centuries, townsfolk would gather in small squares like this one after the day's work. Children played around the stone cross, elders told stories, and travelers were welcomed with bread and salt. You imagine those evenings simple, warm, unhurried. Though the square is empty tonight, the feeling remains. The benches still hold the warmth of memory. The stones still echo with laughter long past. You feel yourself part of it now, drawn into a lineage of rest and belonging. You close your eyes, resting your back against the bench. For a moment, the world narrows into sensation alone. The cool wood beneath you, the whisper of breeze across your skin, the faintest murmur of water somewhere beyond. Your breath falls into rhythm with it. Inhale steady and quiet. Exhale longer, softer, easing you further into the night. The motif has become inseparable from your body, now your breath and the river flowing as one. When you open your eyes again, you notice the stars above the rooftops framed by their sloping angles. They shimmer faintly like droplets suspended in the sky. The sight deepens the motif stars as water sky as river light flowing endlessly across both. You feel yourself floating within that flow, suspended between earth and sky, body and dream. You rise slowly from the bench, your steps lighter as though the town itself is carrying you. The lane ahead curves back toward the river, and soon its voice grows clearer again. You follow it, guided by its gentle murmur, until you reach a small footbridge. Wooden and narrow, it stretches low over the water, almost level with the current. You step onto it, and the motif surrounds you fully once more. The sound of water is intimate here, close to your ears, the ripples lapping softly against the posts. You rest your hands on the railing and lean over slightly. The river glides beneath its surface, smooth and dark, reflecting only fragments of lantern light. It feels like looking into a mirror of your own mind, quiet, vast, holding only what it chooses to show. For a moment, you imagine setting a small candle afloat, just as children once did, carrying your own wish into the current. Perhaps that wish is simple: peace, rest, ease. You watch in your imagination as the candle drifts, its flame steady, its reflection trembling. You know it will be carried onward, kept safe by the river's endless flow. The motif deepens again. You realize the river is not just water moving, it is a teacher. It shows you that rest is not something forced, but something allowed. That flow is not struggle, but surrender. Its voice tells you that you can let go now, and you will still be carried. The lesson settles gently into you, loosening the last threads of tension from your body. You step off the bridge and follow the lane back toward the quieter edges of town. The houses are smaller here, their gardens enclosed by low fences. The air carries scents of herbs and earth, of flowers, closed for the night but still fragrant. It feels like walking through a lullaby, every scent softened, every detail a note of comfort. At the end of the lane, you come to a meadow just beyond the town walls. The grass stretches low, shimmering faintly with dew, and the river curves along its edge. You step into the meadow, the earth soft beneath your feet, the air cooler, fresher. The motif swells once more, water flowing beside the meadow, stars flowing above it. You are surrounded by rivers of light and sound, cradled between them, like a leaf carried gently downstream. You pause here, standing still, letting the meadow's quiet hold you. Your body feels heavy now, your thoughts light, your breath slow. The night is complete around you, every element aligned toward rest. When you move again, it is only a few steps forward into the deeper stillness, waiting just ahead. The river follows faithfully, carrying you further into Český Krumlov's nighttime embrace. The meadow stretches gently before you, open and hushed beneath the night sky. Each blade of grass bends slightly, under the weight of dew, shimmering faintly when the moonlight touches it. The air here feels cooler, lighter, carrying the scent of earth that has been softened by the river's mist. You walk slowly, your footsteps barely disturbing the quiet, as though the ground itself were asking you to tread with reverence. The motif of water is close now, flowing along the edge of the meadow. Its song is steady, constant, unbroken, a ribbon of sound that folds into every breath you take. You pause and let it settle into you, realizing that the river has become less of a companion outside yourself and more of a presence within. Each inhale feels like drawing in its calm. Each exhale feels like letting go into its current. A wooden bench sits at the meadow's edge, facing the river. You take a seat, the wood cool beneath you, sturdy and grounding. From here, the water stretches wide and clear, its surface smooth except for the occasional ripple that carries silver light across the darkness. Above, the stars mirror those ripples, trembling faintly, as if sky and river are in conversation. You sit between them, cradled, suspended, belonging wholly to both. The quiet is so deep it feels alive. You listen closely. The murmur of water, the faint rustle of leaves along the bank, the soft whistle of wind across grass. Each sound is a note in a lullaby written just for this moment. The motif is no longer only a pattern, it has become a song of belonging, a rhythm of reassurance that flows through you. You close your eyes and imagine the river carrying not just water, but everything unneeded, every worry, every weight, every restless thought. You see them drift away like fallen leaves on the current, carried downstream until they vanish into the night. What remains is only stillness, only breath, only presence. A micro-story drifts into your thoughts. They say that in centuries past, shepherds would rest in this meadow while their flocks grazed. At night, they would listen to the same river, trusting its sound to guard their sleep. Some believe that the river carried dreams from the mountains down to the valley, bringing gentle visions to those who lay nearby. Tonight, you feel that tradition alive. The sound of the current is like a dream being written within you, one that will stay even as you sleep. Your body sinks deeper into the bench, shoulders loose, jaw softened, eyes heavy. You breathe again. Inhale the cool dampness of night air. Exhale into release. The motif carries you. Inhale with the swell of water. Exhale with its flow downstream. Each cycle eases you further until thought itself feels like part of the current flowing without effort. When you open your eyes, you see the castle tower above the rooftops in the distance, softened, now its glow muted by the deepening night. It no longer feels imposing. It feels like a candle at the edge of a room burning quietly, offering light without asking for attention. The reflection of that tower shimmers in the river below, faint but steady. The motif is there again. Even great towers can only exist because of the flow beneath them, just as rest exists because of the flow of breath. The meadow is empty, yet it feels filled with memory, with kindness, with the presence of everything that has passed here. You feel no need to move, no urge to seek. All that you need has already arrived. Your thoughts drift gently to home again. Perhaps you recall lying back in tall grass on a summer night, fireflies rising around you, the smell of warm soil and cool water nearby. That memory blends seamlessly with this meadow, proving again that peace is not bound to a single place. It flows wherever you allow it, carried on rivers, on stars, on breath. The motif deepens to its most intimate form. It is no longer just the river you hear. It is the sound of your own body flowing, the pulse in your wrists, the rise and fall of your chest, the rhythm of your heartbeat. You realize that you yourself are part of the current, that rest is not something given, but something you already carry within. You remain on the bench, letting the night cradle you. The stars above tremble faintly. The river below flows endlessly, and you sit between them, a quiet soul carried by both. Time softens, dissolves, disappears. When you finally rise, it is with no urgency, only ease. The path ahead leads deeper into the meadow, where lanterns mark the way in long intervals. Their glow is low, barely more than fireflies, guiding you softly forward. You follow unhurried, the river always at your side, its voice promising it will never leave. The meadow narrows toward the trees where shadows grow thicker and the night folds closer around you. Yet the motif follows still, sound, breath, memory flow. each step guided by the current of Český Krumlov's nighttime magic. The meadow path carries you gently toward a grove of trees, their trunks rising pale in the moonlight, their branches arching overhead to create a canopy of shadow and silver. The lanterns grow fewer here, their glow faint like the last embers of a fire slowly fading. You walk quietly, your footsteps softened by grass and earth, your breath steady, your body moving as if guided not by will, but by the river's rhythm. The motif is close again, though softer, now hushed, as though the river too is preparing for rest. Its voice is lower, gentler, flowing with the patience of centuries. You realize that it has changed with you, once bright and clear, then full and strong, now muted, steady, serene. It mirrors your own journey through the night, carrying you from curiosity to wonder and now into stillness. The grove opens into a clearing where the river curves close once more. Here the water widens and slows, becoming a mirror that holds both stars and trees. You lean against a fallen log, the wood rough but steady beneath your hands, and look out across the surface. The reflection is so perfect, it feels as if you are gazing into another world, one where everything flows in silence, everything rests in peace. You sit on the log, letting your body sink into its firmness. The air is cooler here, touched with the fragrance of damp moss and wildflowers that linger at the river's edge. You breathe it in, the freshness filling your chest, then exhale slowly, letting your weight sink further into the wood. The motif is within you now, your breath matching the current, your thoughts drifting like ripples, your body as still as the log itself. A story comes to mind, tender and unhurried. They say that in the earliest days of this town, before stone walls and painted towers, people would gather by this riverbank at night. They would tell stories under the stars, their voices weaving into the flow of water. The river carried those words, blending them with the voices of birds, wind, and time. Tonight you imagine those stories still flowing here, unbroken, whispering through the current. Perhaps your own story has joined them, now carried onward by the same water that has seen everything. You close your eyes, listening. The night is thick with quiet, the waters hush, the rustle of leaves, the faint call of an owl from deep in the forest. Each sound feels measured, patient, part of a rhythm older than memory. The motif has dissolved from sound into presence. It no longer needs to remind you of its flow because you are already part of it. Your body grows heavier, your breath slower. Inhale like the cool touch of mist. Exhale like a ripple fading across the river. Every cycle carries you deeper, dissolving the edges of thought, loosening the threads of wakefulness. When you open your eyes again, the stars above have shifted faintly, as if marking the passing of time. But time here does not matter. The town sleeps, the castle rests, the river flows. All is steady, all is safe. You rise slowly from the log and walk to the water's edge. The grass is damp beneath your feet, the earth soft. You crouch and trail your fingers lightly across the surface. The water is cool, silken, flowing around your touch. For a moment, you let your hand drift with it, as though you too are being carried downstream. When you lift your hand, droplets cling briefly to your skin, then fall back, completing the flow. The motif has reached its deepest meaning. It is not just water, it is continuity. It is trust. It is the gentle truth that everything is carried, nothing is wasted, and rest is simply the river holding you for a while. You stand again and follow the faint lanterns marking the path through the grove. Their glow is smaller now, almost like fireflies, leading you unhurried toward the night's end. Each step feels slower, heavier, as if your body is ready to yield fully to rest. Ahead, you see the final lanterns pooling light where the grove opens once more toward the town. The path bends softly, promising the last embrace of Český Krumlov's nighttime magic. You follow knowing that the journey is nearly complete, that closure waits just beyond. The river flows beside you, steady as ever, whispering with every ripple that you are safe, that you are carried, that rest is already here. And as you move toward the last glow of lantern light, the motif stays with you, eternal, gentle, guiding you into the night's quiet embrace. The path bends gently out of the grove, and you find yourself once more at the edge of town. The houses here are small, their roofs sloping low, their windows shuttered, their gardens resting in darkness. Lanterns flicker in fewer numbers. Now their glow soft and dim like the last embers of a hearth fire. The quiet is complete, only the river flows beside you, steady and faithful. The motif is here again, unchanged, as though it has been waiting to close the journey with you. You lean against the stone wall that lines the riverbank. The surface glimmers faintly with moonlight, broken into silver fragments that drift slowly downstream. You listen closely, and the sound is softer, now more intimate, like a whisper meant only for your ears. It is the same voice that has followed you from the castle heights, through courtyards, bridges, meadows, and groves. The river has been with you all along, guiding, carrying, soothing. Tonight, it is no longer only the town's heartbeat. It is yours. You breathe with it once more. Inhale the cool dampness of river air, filling your chest with ease. Exhale the release of everything flowing away, dissolving into the current. Each breath feels like a blessing, each cycle a reminder that you are carried, that you are safe, that you can let go completely now. A wooden bench waits nearby, its surface smooth from years of use. You sit, feeling its firmness beneath you, its steadiness anchoring you. The bench faces the river, and for a while you do nothing but watch. The flow is endless, yet unhurried. It reminds you of time itself, not rushing, not demanding, simply moving. You realize that rest is part of that movement, not a pause, but a natural continuation. A micro-story comes to you as you sit. They say that many centuries ago, weary travelers would arrive here after long journeys by boat. They would rest on this very bank, laying down their burdens, listening to the water until sleep claimed them. Some believe the river could absorb fatigue, carrying it away so that the soul could be light again. You feel that truth now. The day's weight has gone. What remains is calm, flowing quietly within you. The houses nearby are silent, their windows dark. The whole town is at rest. Each room holding dreams, each bed cradling a sleeper. You feel yourself part of that great stillness, another soul welcomed into the embrace of night. Český Krumlov is no longer just a place you visited, it is a memory you carry, a dream you share, a quiet current flowing through you, even as you close your eyes. The motif has reached its final form. It is not just water anymore, it is reflection, rhythm, belonging. It is the thread that has woven this night together, from castle heights to meadow grass, from bridge to bench, from sound to silence. And now it leads you here, to closure, to peace, to rest. You sit quietly, letting the world dissolve into softness. The river flows. The stars tremble faintly above. Your breath rises and falls, slow, steady, complete. There is nothing more to seek, nothing more to carry, only this moment, only this stillness, only this flow. And so with the town asleep around you, with the river singing its eternal lullaby, you allow yourself to drift. Drift into the current of night, into the embrace of rest, into the dream waiting just beyond. If you enjoyed this journey, you're welcome to join me again whenever you wish. There are many more stories waiting for you, ready to guide you into restful dreams.